Okay, good morning, children. Welcome to your B.St class. Before we start with the class, children, every day you take a bath and you clean yourself from outside. There is a need that we should give a quick bath to our inner self. So I would like you all to just close your eyes and peep inside. A brief meditation for 1 minute should be done. Just close your eyes and rotate this light throughout your body and see that each and every part has been filled with this light positive energy. If you do this once in a day, your whole day is going to be positive, children. So just experiment it out. Think of the light in your mind and keep spreading this light throughout your body. Your inner self has been cleansed and you have become more beautiful. Feel relaxed. Feel relaxed. You can see. And a thought for you people, difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations. And that is going to be rightly proven for 12 standard children. The more you feel that the days are difficult, and the more you feel that it is difficult to study sitting at home, but if you're able to make it, if you're able to do as it is being, you walk on that road, surely you take it in writing from me, children, you will reach beautiful destinations. You will get the fruit of your labor, and that is sure. The destiny is in your hands. Fine. Before we begin with the class now, children, just go through these instructions. Very important. Every class, these instructions are being put up. But we see our children still, they don't write their name, admission number, class, and section. You are then put into the waiting room and then you are removed, and then you have a problem that why you have been removed. Please make sure that you rename yourself. And the first point, don't forget, please, by any chance, don't switch on your audio or video. If you have any kind of a problem or query, children, you can always mail us, but don't raise your hands. Okay, you need to maintain a proper decorum and discipline of the class. Fine. Now, I start my day with God's grace. We started our day with a brief meditation and we started with the instruction. But your B.St class will start with applauding and appreciating the children who had participated in the small self check quiz. These were the answers of the self check quiz, children. This was giving freedom to Indian business and industries and removing unnecessary government controls and restriction. The answer was liberalization. Which among the following is not open for private sector participation? It was railways, because in power sector, telecommunication, education, we have private players coming in. When was economic reforms program introduced in India? It was in 1991. And the definition which is given, that is integration of various economies of the world in global economy, was globalization. Maybe the quiz was very easy for you people. We have lots and lots of winners. One slide was not enough. So I announced the names of these children who are winners, those who are active in the class, listening carefully. I would surely like to applaud these children. They are the winners who got the correct answers. Keep listening to your names. Dhruv 12C, Nipun 12D, Aman Madhok 12E, Lakshit 12C, Diya Hudia 12th F, Uday Mittal 12D, Navjot 12th F, Soham 12E, Vanchika Srivastava 12D, Palak Bansal 12D, Chavi Jain 12E, Anushka Agarwal 12D, Divit Sapra 12C, Khushi Agicha 12th F, Pravi 12E, Apur 12th E, Jivisha 12th E, Harshit 12th F, Siddhant Mishra 12th C, Saksham 12 D, Kunal Tikku 12th E, Anshul Joshi 12 D, Piyush Goyal 12 C, Avni 12th E, Shakti 12 C, Sahaj 12th F, Aditi Khurana 12 D, Vishwas Gupta 12th E, Mishti 12th F, Khushi Kelly 12 C, Hardik Jain 12 E, Yashika 12 D, Mridul 12 C. But the children, those who got still one, there are children who got just one answer incorrect, but we surely want to applaud these children. They are Ishanjali, Ria, Ishanji of 12th E, Ria 12th F, Ria Sarda 12th C, Chaitanya 12th F, Ananya Chawla 12 D, Brahmishta 12th E, Himani 12th F, Gautam 12 D, Aditi Gupta 12 D, Yash Ahuja 12th F. Very well done, children. Very happy and proud to have children like you, those who are participating and keep showing this interest and active, participation in the class. So you have done very well, and same thing will be repeated at the end of the lecture today also. And we hope the same kind of answers coming from you, some same kind of response coming from you. And this happened, within a span of 1 minute. That is, once the class was finished, these all answers came to me before 10:51. All these answers came to me. I am so happy and proud of you, my children. Okay, now we start with the chapters revision. Okay, what we have done till now. Also, proceeding to the chapter before that, I would also like to announce, children, you have received your date sheet has come for your practice tests. Please make sure these tests are well prepared. You are giving these tests after a good preparation. And this is the first test you are entering for 12th standard. So give your best bet to it, okay? So let's proceed. We had talked about business environment, and we said business environment is what? It is the sum total of all the individuals, institutions, and other forces that are outside the control of a business enterprise, but that may affect its performance. And we have made this diagram, if you see above, it is that there are factors outside the business, they comprise business environment. We have also talked about the different types of forces which are there in the business environment. We said that talked about the features. The first feature was totality of external forces. We said that anything, these forces or business environment is aggregative in nature. In totality, everything is being taken, all the dimensions are taken. And then we had talked about specific and general forces. Specific forces, you knew it is, it comprises of investors, customers, competitors, and suppliers. Whereas general forces, they comprise of all those slept dimensions, slept analysis dimension: social, political, legal, technological, and political, okay, economical. And then we had said that all these dimensions, they are interrelated to each other. A change in one is going to bring a change in another. We also talked about the dynamism of business environment. It is comprising of so many dimensions, so some or the other dimension is going to be changing. So there is going to be changes prone to happen. It is dynamic in nature. When you say dynamic, the other thing which comes along, because it is related to so many things, and for future, we say it is very uncertain, because it is the happenings we need to predict for the future what is going to happen in business environment. So it is very uncertain. We also talked about the complexity. Business environment is very complex. When you say this, it is complex. Why? Because it is made up of numerous things are there. There are so many conditions, there are so many forces which comprise of business environment. That's why we say it's complex. It cannot be studied in total, but it can be studied in parts. So you can individually study the dimensions, but you cannot study it together. So it is considered to be very complex in nature. Then we said that it is a relative concept, means that business environment is going to vary from place to place. It's not going to be same everywhere. So we say that business environment is relative in nature. So these are the identification of business environment. These are the features of business environment. Then we had talked about the business importance of business environment, and that is the person or the business which will be able to identify their business environment they're going to study. They'll be able to identify the opportunities and will be able to take the first mover advantage. Then we said, if you're able to study your business environment, you'll also be getting the threats, or you will get the early warning signals, so you will act accordingly. We gave you the examples for the same, More and Walmart. Then we have said that business environment, if you are studying nicely, you will come to know that what is being provided to you by the environment, and what you want to give in the environment according to the demand which you have studied because of business environment. So what is going to happen is, studying or analysis of business environment will help you tap only the useful resources. Then we said that business environment helps you to cope with rapid changes. The changes are taking place because of the dynamic nature of the business environment. So the changes can be because of what? Because of the changing brand loyalty, because of the turbulent market conditions, because of different market condition, demand of the customers keep on changing, and there is technology which is going on changing, and there is so much of competition which is coming from other countries of the world. So it becomes, if you are aware about your business environment, it becomes easy for you to adapt those changes. So it will help you to cope with rapid changes. Then we had says that it helps in planning and policy formulation. They say if we are able to study business environment, they help us. They are the source of opportunities and threats. They tell us that what should be done, and accordingly, we are going to decide the course of action. We are going to train ourselves. We are going to take the decision accordingly, and we will be able to handle the situation and move towards growth. And we are going to perform better. Then in the end, we had talked about that it helps to improve the performance. That is, you are going to the performance is it is going to be better and better only when you are able to study the business environment. You are going to closely watch each and every dimension, and what is going to happen is you will be moving towards advancement, towards growth, towards profits. Reason being, because you know the environment and you adapt the environment and you respond accordingly. So your present performance is going to be improved. And if you are able to see the future, if there is any kind of a threat, you are going to perform accordingly. With the result, you're going to continue to succeed and grow. So, in totality, when you say, see these words, children, see these words, when you say importance, you have to keep certain things in mind. See, it is helping you to take the first mover advantage. These words have to be learned nicely. Okay. Threats, warning signal, tapping of useful resources, helps to cope rapid changes, helps in or assist in planning and policy formulation, helps in improving performance. So all these words are going to be related to, these are all going to be related to the advantages, the importance. So when you write any point, just make, do a guided visualization in your mind whether it is a importance or not. Otherwise it might be difficult to interpret. Now today's quiz is going to be related to whatever topics we have covered. We are going to do that. So remember, everybody has to be very, very vigilant is necessary. That is what is required in this chapter also. You have to be vigilant today also, and tomorrow when you become managers too. You have to be vigilant about your environment. Now, then we had talked about the economic policy, which came in 1991, which was very important, and it changed the scenario of the business for everybody. Everyone was affected, every business was affected with this economic policy, which came in 1991, known as LPG. And now you are very clear that what does LPG stands for: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. We had talked about in the last lecture what is liberalization, children. You should know this meaning, or you should know what to write in liberalization. Liberalization basically means to liberate you, to free you, to remove all the unnecessary controls and regulations which are there in on the economy. So breaking those chains, liberating the economy, so that you are freely able to trade, you are freely able to do the things. And I told you the meaning of license, permit, quota, Raj. In India, this was what was happening. For everything, license was to be taken. There were permits were given for particular things, and there was quantity dealing. Only a particular level of quantity could be dealt in. So there was a quota in which they could be dealting in. So that is a license, permit, quota, Raj. You should learn this term. License, permit, quota, Raj. It came to an end. It started from 1991. Then what happened is, we in liberalization, what was those things? What were those acts which was being done by the government in order to bring this liberalization? What happened actually? They abolished licensing, industrial licensing, except for few companies. I said you need, any hazardous goods you're dealing in, only in those things you require the licenses. Otherwise, there is no need of taking the licenses. So abolition means removing, completely eradicated. So that is abolition. Then second point we had talked about, freedom in deciding the scale of business, that this much is the quota, this much you can produce, you cannot produce more than these many units. Now that type of a quantity, hurdle which was there, now it is not there. You A business is allowed to produce according to the production or the sale he can make, according to the demand which is there, right? Then is there was removal of restriction on the movement of goods and services. The restrictions which used to be there, you cannot move from one state to another, from one country to another, that type of restrictions, they were removed. So removal of restrictions, again giving you more liberty. And then next point was freedom in fixing the prices. You could fix the price, the business will fix the price. I told you, when, how are we going to fix the prices? It depends upon how much cost we have incurred. We will to take out that cost now when we are going to make a product enter into the market. So what we are going to do is, we should be allowed to fix the price so that we are able to earn certain margins. For that we are doing business. So a businessman should be given a freedom to fix the prices. There should be no cap laid down on the prices. So the freedom was being given to the businessmen to fix the prices themselves. Then there were reduction in tax rates and removing all unnecessary control over the economy. This was a question in the last, you know, quiz, a self check quiz, right? So reduction in tax rate was there, and unnecessary controls, any kind of control which was there in the economy, which was, binding the hands of our economy, that was removed. Then was there was import and export procedures were simplified, they were made more easier. So simple procedures were made of people coming into our the products coming into our country, and the products going outside our country. Not only the products, the services too, the companies too. Then we it started attracting more of FDIs. Now, when the word FDI comes, children, you should be very well clear about this word FDI, that is foreign direct investment. When you say direct, it means that the other country companies, they can come and buy the equity of our country companies, or they can come and invest in new companies, they can set up their own companies. So foreigners, when they're going to come direct, when you say direct means they are buying equity, they're the equity shareholders. So the direct investment was now allowed. Fine. So this was liberalization. all unnecessary controls which were there in our economy, because of which our economy was not able to grow. That was, those shackles were removed. So this was liberalization. Now, what is privatization? Privatization, we had said that in this, the private sector was given more importance as compared to public sector. So the money which was invested by government in the various businesses, that was being disinvested. So this word has to be there, children, when you talk about privatization. So money is going to be taken out from the, it is going to be taken out from the government sector. Equity is going to be reduced, and who is going to buy more shares? That is, private players started coming in. We have said that which were the first companies which came in. Hindustan Zinc came in, Maruti Udyog came in. So there's a lot of banks came in. Where we had talked about various banks, public sector banks. Now there were so many private sector banks which have come in. Insurance, life insurance corporation was there in India only. And then there were so many companies which came up with the insurance. We'll talk about it today. And we had also talked about, in even in airlines also, there was so much of privatization. So what is privatization? When the private players, they are going to dominate the economy as compared to the public sector. So the government stake, the government share is going to be reduced, and the private share is going to increase. That is privatization. Then we had talked about globalization. I said you take this meaning as a layman. Now, what does globalization means? When you talk about technically, globalization refers to integration of various economies of the world, leading towards the emergence of cohesive global economy. Now, it is basically thinking of the globe as one single market. That is why we say that world is a global village, because there is no restriction in the village. All the geographical boundaries which are there of the countries, they start losing the significance in case of globalization, means they are not going to create hurdles. Now we can do a trade across the boundaries too. So, what is globalization? Globalization is, it is going to remove these problems of licensing imports. Easy imports are possible. The tariffs which are there, that is, the taxes or duties are going to be reduced. The quantity restrictions is going to be reduced. So, these regulations are going to be now not there, because of which the outside companies are not able to come into our country and do the business. So now the boundaries were not paying any, they were not paying any, that they were not that important, in the sense that their importance was moving down. Means we were looking for economy as a boundaryless world, because we are able to buy the things from other country, which is a free flow of goods and services and capital and people and IT, information technology, across the nations. So that is globalization. So because of this, what was happening? The MNCs started, they started coming inside our country. They saw India as a big market. Fine. So this was globalization. So we had talked about LPG, children, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Now, you should know this is the answer of what? These are the economic changes which came in. Now, what has been the impact of government policies? Which policies? This LPG, the government policy, what has been its impact? Has there been any effect on the business and industries? Is there any kind of a positive or negative impact? Okay, now let's see what is the impact of these government policies. Children, government policies means trade policies, industrial policies, fiscal policies, which has led to liberalization, privatization, and globalization. So when the word is coming government policy, it is this policy, the changes which were made. in the form of trade policy and fiscal policy and economic policies. So these are all what? This is actually the outcome of LPG. We are going to study the impact, the effect. Okay, now what has been the effect of these policies on our business and industries? Was it positive or negative? Let's see. So, what are the points we are going to do today in this? The impact. What is going to happen is the effect is there is going to be increasing competition. There are more demanding customers. The technological environment has become very dynamic. The change has become the word for today. You have to change or you'll be declared obsolete. Developing human resource. Now, human resource, this word has gained importance. Market orientation. Marketing word again has become very aggressively used by the businesses. And there is loss of budgetary support. To whom? By whom? Let's talk in detail. Fine. So we are going to talk about the effect, the impact of government policies on business and industries. How are we affected with this? Fine. Let's see the business affected with this. Let's see. The very first point is increase in competition. Now, they say when you say increase in competition, now there is because of, now the words are very important, children. Why did this competition increase? Because now licensing was not required, it was abolished. So MNCs, they did not need a license, or other companies, any other person, private player wants to start a particular business, he might not need a license. So in the local market also and in the international market also, it became easier to come and put up your product in the Indian market. So now Indians were facing Indian market, may Indian local manufacturers, they were facing competition not only from the local players but also from the multinationals. So the competition increased for the firms, especially the service industry. Let's see which are those service industries. If we talk of, when we say this, that there is an increase. So when you talk about uh, increasing competition in telecommunication, you can see earlier MTNL was there, but the private players started coming in. Like now you can see Idea has come, Reliance has come, BSNL has come, Geo has come. These are the examples of telecommunication competition. So competition increased in service sector basically. Then second is airlines. In India, Indian Airlines and Air India, they were the two airlines which were functional, totally owned by the public sector. But then, with coming of this, LPG after 1991, other players also came in, like Indigo and SpiceJet. They also came into the competition. Fine. So airline is also facing competition. Then it was banking sector. Oh, there was a boom for the private banks coming in. Already public sector banks was there. Public sector banks, SBI being the main player, Canara Bank was there, Union Bank was there, but and now private players started coming in, like HDFC started coming in, ICICI coming in, Indian banks coming in. So there was so many, there was flourishing business of banking. So banks also were facing a lot of competition. What about insurance? Insurance, we had this life insurance corporation was there, in which we had LIC only. LIC was the only player in the market doing general insurance and life insurance. And now, if you see, you have ICICI Prudential, you have Birla Sun Life, you have Max New York, and you have Met India Life Insurance. So there are so many companies which came into being. And why did they come into being? So the first impact was the competition increased. So competition increased, you might take it as positive, you might take it as negative. Competition increased, so everybody started, the existing players, they started improving the quality. And but there was a very big warning signal to them that they have to improve the quality, otherwise they are outdated, they'll be out of the market. So because of abolition of licenses, because of globalization, it was it was that there was more competition creeping in our economy, both from the local markets, from the local players, and also from the international players. So the first effect is it increased competition. The second point is the customer became more demanding. Now, why did the customer became more demanding? Because the customer is now getting more of the choices. The customer is now well informed. The customer is there is a competition. There are so many companies which are coming for each and every product. There are so many companies. So there was a tussle going on between the companies to you know to fill the market with different brands, every company coming with a brand. So what the benefit the customer is doing? Customer is now becoming more demanding. Why? Because he was getting wider choice and he was getting better quality. So with the result, the customer today became more demanding. Every company is coming with a new product. Some examples I have picked. Some examples are there, like if you talk about ketchups, you talk about tomato sauce, we have Kisan, we have Maggie, we have Cremica, we have Del Monte. So these are all brands of one product, that is ketchup. Soaps, there were example of soaps. There are so many soaps in the market. Dettol is there, Synthol is there, Lux, Pierce, Dove. There are so many soaps, and for that matter, shampoos too. Shoes, if you talk about shoes, earlier Bata and Liberty was there doing their work, and our forefathers were very, showing their brand loyalty towards Bata and Liberty. But now Nike, Puma, Adidas, they have come in. So people are getting better quality, wider choice. So why will they not become more demanding? So the customer became more demanding. So customer was more demanding. Then the third impact was the technology started changing very rapidly. Now, when you say this, it started changing rapidly. You all know the business environment is so dynamic. It keeps on growing. Something new is going to happen. We have talked about the examples. We said about the phones. We have talked about the cars. We have talked about, I've shown you the proper picture about this. The technology, the typewriters are not used. Now we have laptops. No, we are not using those handycams. We have digital cameras. We are not using those VCR and DVDs. We are now into pen drives and all. It is. See these cars. I told you these Ambassador and Fiat, they had ruled in India for a very long time. But now you see the car market. It is flooded with the different brands of cars, isn't it? So this is, they say, the technology was changing. It was started changing rapidly. It was for many years. These two cars were ruling. People never thought they're going to get another car other than Ambassador and or Fiat. But you see the condition of the automobile industry today. So the Technology came in so badly, so there was a rapid change in the technological environment. And so the small companies, they were facing a lot of challenges. How they are going to do? So a technological environment was started, it was becoming very dynamic, it was changing, it was volatile, and it was giving a tough challenge to smaller companies. Smaller companies were not investing that much in research and development in their R&D. They were not investing. So technology was coming in quickly, changing, and the people who were not changing, they went out of the market. The examples were given like the black and white television was there, Nikita Shah, Texla, all these, they went off, and new companies they came in, all MNCs they have come in. So there are some examples I have kept for I have told you, I've already explained. Now we come to necessity for change came in. When you say necessity for change came in, there was a need to change. Why there was a need to change? Now, listen carefully to this point, children. Before 1991, all the policies which were being made once by the government, they used to stay for years and years to be practiced. Any one policy coming in, any one rule being made, it was going on for years and years. And there used to be so much of red tapeism in that. And the things were for a longer time, it was, it was halted. It was a static economy, it became. The policies once made, they were as if they were made forever. But now, with the coming of LPG, the market had become turbulent. Turbulent means volatile, because of which the company needs to continuously go according to the environment. It needs to modify its operations, work again and again, otherwise, it is not going to survive. So now there was a need for change. Necessity was for change was there. If there was no change, then the business becomes static, and static business will not stay for long. So again, this point, there was a necessity for change. This was another impact of business economic policies. Fine. Now, so these words, please, you should be writing out these words, children. In before 1991, the firms they had the stable policies because the environment was very restricted. It was controlled so much, regulated. What do you mean by regulated? Lots of regulations were there to be followed. So once that regulation has started, it is going to be that policy itself. But now the business environment says after LPG, the environment has become very turbulent. Please use these words. These are technical words. Turbulent, volatile. So with the result, the enterprise has to continuously modify its operations. Fine. So there is a necessity for change. From stability, it has to go to changing environment. It has to change. Then the next point, see this, the change is occurring. Some examples we have taken, you can see how it has changed from what to what. So this is the era of change. There is a need to change. Now, next very important point. So much so that this word human resource is taken as one of the subject in master's degree. Masters in human resource. So much of importance given to human resource. Earlier, it was not there. You didn't look for that much of skill or that much of competence or that much of commitment was not seen earlier. Any person who was a graduate or who is somewhere related, the person used to be given a job. And how he's doing, once he is there in the job, it was very difficult to remove that person from that job. But now, people or the companies are going to hire only competent personnel. That is why, children, you need to develop soft skills, we say. When we say soft skills, that is going to increase your market value. Your human resource has to be more competent, more efficient, more effective, more knowledgeable, educated. They take managers who are MBAs. So the importance of human resource has increased. Earlier, there was inadequate trained people. People were doing only graduation. No technical skills were there. And there was MBA was not compulsory as such to become managers. You know that. We talked about when we talked about management as profession, it is not necessary for every manager to be an MBA. But these companies, MNCs, you can't even peep into these companies if you have not done an MBA. So when you talk about this, why? Why? Because human resource, now this is a resource. Manpower has been given the name as human resource, a very important resource is there. So it has now the need of human resource has increased. That is, the human resource needs to be trained. When they come and join the organization, they should be able to contribute to the productivity of the company. So earlier, what was happening was, children, Indian enterprises, they were suffering from what kind of a people? Personnel. Please see the spelling. Personnel. It's not personnel. See the spelling, children. No mistakes. Inadequately trained personnel uh, were there. Now the new market condition, they required people with a higher competence and great commitments. This was the demand of the hour. So there was a need to develop human resource. What things he should be having? Everything: learning, experience, ability, or training, trained person, competitive person, knowledgeable person. So human resource in totality should be a good package. So this is, you are looking for a person who is having these quality, who is more competent, more committed, more experienced. So all these things, you're looking into a person. Now this need increased in the businesses. They started looking for such people, skilled people, manpower. Fine. So there was a need for developing human resource. Human resource became very, very important. Now, next, let's talk about market orientation. Very interesting topic, children. Word this point. Earlier, what was happening was, all the businesses, they used to produce just to sell. They used to produce without knowing whether the demand is there or not. So what they used to do, they used to produce the things and throw it into the market for selling, not knowing whether the people will buy it or not. And that concept was known as selling concept. It was, you can say the example is like, selling a comb to a bald man. He doesn't need it, but you are selling it to him, saying that something will happen good if you comb it continuously, your bald head. So it was not like that. The people started feeling cheated if you are doing using this concept of selling. So marketing concept came, which said you first study the demand. Does the person wants it? Produce it, put it into the market, and then you see how the sales are going to be and the customer is going to be satisfied. When selling concept was there, at that time, producer, because products were very less in the market, and producer used to be the king of the market. So whatever he is giving, you have to take. But now there are so many players. If you are not giving it to the customer will go to another shop, go to another competitor. So the marketing concept is study the demand. Does the person needs your product or not? If not, produce less. If yes, produce more. Or change the product if the person is not demanding it. So now the customer demand has become a bigger thing. So who became the king? The customer became the king. Earlier it was the producer was the king, but today the customer is the king. It means market orientation means what? You study the market first, study the demand first, and then you produced. Irrespective to what was happening in selling concept, you produce the goods first and you used to put it into the market without knowing whether it is demanded or not. Getting the difference, children? So it is, now it was a market oriented marketing was, it was the word, not selling. So market orientation became important, studying the market, studying the demand, and then producing. And your last point is loss of budgetary support. Who was supporting? Government was having a good stake in the companies. Now the government was saying that public sector not working properly, efficiency levels are not good. So government was not happy with the public sector. So what did government do? The government started reducing the amount given to the public sector and started shifting its support to private sector. In the budget, allocation of money is not going to be done to the public sector, rather it will be given to the private sector. So if our prime minister has started this digital India project, lots of money is being coming in digital India, and government is also pumping in a lot of money in this digital India. Why? Because they are withdrawing their support to public sector because of their inefficiency. This is happening, this is a effect. So from the budget, the money is not allocated much to public sector as compared to private sector. So government's budgetary support for financing public sector outlay has declined. It has gone down. So public sector undertaking have realized, and they have also come to know this, that in order to survive, they will have to be more efficient. Otherwise, government is not going to support them. So government is supporting more whom now? Private sector. So these are the effects. You're going to study it nicely. And now, these were the impacts of government policies of LPG on business and industry. So here comes, so conclusion is India has a positive impact or a negative impact. India has a very good impact of liberalization, privatization. It has been positive in Indian business. And it has shown great resilience in dealing with new economic order. So they are accepting it very nicely. So new economic order is a success in India. Right? Okay, children. Now, this is a self-check for you. Please check these questions that are related to the topics we have covered till date. And I want you to answer. You still have 1 minute with you. The questions are economic reforms changed the selling concept to economic reforms changed. Just now we have done. Selling concept was changed to which concept? Understanding of which dimension of environment is important to undermine product, services, and standards of conduct that are acceptable to society. Dash aims to restrict the role of public sector, which out of the three economic policies. That competitor is an example of which force? Okay, uh, you should know which forces. The first lecture. Dash means positive external trends or changes that will help a company to improve its performance. Positive external trends. Let's see, you get the word or not. Which of the following does not explain the impact of government policy change on business and industry? What we have not studied: more demanding customer, increasing competition, change in agriculture prices, or market orientation? So you have to give me the answers of these questions. You have 1 minute in hand, children. Let's see. And answers should be coming together. It should not be one answer, okay? It should be together, the answer should be coming. Let's see. And the children should be there till the end. We should not see the children, generally they leave the class at the end, and everybody can participate in this, everyone. We are not asking you to come on the platform or on the stage. Okay, children, that is all. uh, I wind up my class, and God bless you all. Thank you.